Hey everyone, welcome back to another Persona 5 next video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Messa. So we just had the 2.3 live stream happen like 12 hours ago when I got off stream. And I kind of sat there talking to some people and thinking about Messa overall. And kind of thinking, if you care about meta or anything like that, I kind of want to talk about, is Messa worth it? Of course, as always, if you love Messa, you love his design, you like what he does, everything about him, absolutely pull him. Do what you want. This is a really simple free-to-play gacha game. It's really free-to-play friendly in the sense that to get all of the patch gems, it's really easy. Because when we're looking at it from a bossing standpoint and the meta standpoint, if all you care about gems, getting your gems from your guild boss and your SOS is really, really easy. It doesn't require anything. On Unreal, you can probably do it 4 stars. So you can grab any unit you want and you'll be perfectly fine. And then also, is Messa good enough to clear out all the story content? Absolutely. Absolutely, he can absolutely do all the story bosses. So overall, he can clear everything in the game. But when we're actually looking at Messa and what we're currently looking at, so first thing what I want to do is kind of like just really look at what he does, because he is one of the first interesting characters that came out in the game. So in patch 1.0 or 1.x, they're kind of more focused on like more of like the extra action follow-up moves, while in this patch, like in the 2.x space, that's where they got a little more freaky deaky with the characters. And I think the first one looking at is Messa. So Messa is a dot character, so damage over time, and he is in the form of what's called bleed. And what bleed is take almighty damage based on 1% of max HP plus 4% of Messa's attack as physical damage for 4 turns up to 10 stacks. Sounds pretty good until we actually sit down and look at something even they said here. And before I really start getting into everything, if you guys can do me a huge favor and hit the like button and subscribe down below. I am trying to hit 3K by end of the year, and I'm getting super duper close, guys. Like, I am at 2731 as of today. So if you guys do a huge favor, like I said, hit the subscribe button and like down below. And with that, let's begin the video. Some bosses do have resistance to percentage-based damage. So when Messa first came out on TW, they never had this resistance. They never had this decrease for percentage-based damage. So he was really strong at launch. And then they brought in this nerf. And it nerfed not only Messa, but also any sort of curse. So Sepia, because curse is also a health-based damage. So with this, they're saying some bosses, I'm going to be honest, basically every boss in the game is going to have this. Because if not, Messa is actually kind of broken due to how high of an HP pool that the bosses have in this game. It's actually kind of ridiculous. So even with this, they even admitted that they have this. Like, they already have this in the game. So Messa at launch is already, or what probably is going to happen is during the Messa boss this patch, they're probably going to remove that. And I think it's even proven further on in the video when they're showing it during the boss, is the fact they even said in the video that Messa has a buff during this boss. So when you look at right here, it says increased damage to a special effect in the Sea of Souls. So we can't even look at the damage that Messa is doing and all the bleed and really see what it's doing, just because it's misconstrued due to the buff, due to the increased damage. And then what does he do with these bleed stacks? Well, technically what he's supposed to be doing is using Night Arrival, so his skill 3. I know these have different skills names. I just want to look at it from the TW's perspective, just because I have all the information right here. And then he pops it with his skill 2. So you do skill 3 into skill 2, and you kind of pop all those stacks and do a bunch of what's called laceration, because that's his second portion. For every, I think, 3 stacks of bleed, he removes them and then increases and then does another stack of damage. That's kind of what he does. So he builds up bleed stacks and he does a big skill 2 damage. And all you want to do is hit 10 stacks, you pop them, and you're good to go. That's kind of his playstyle. But the devs even admitted in the live stream that when Messa came out, or like after like a patch or something, it basically was, so if he wasn't a 6, you were kind of stuck playing a dot-based Messa. So you're not really using skill 2, like for the executioner, or let me check what it actually is. Or when we're looking at like right here, when he's in the Ripper mode, which is his skill 3. Skill 3 puts him in Ripper mode, and then you use skill 2 pathology. So as we can see here, you can see, oh wow, he got a 50% total, which is about 25% increase on skill 1 and skill 2 when he's doing Ripper mode damage. This awareness 0 is already in the game, so this is not a buff with it. And the only other buff they gave him was for his A1 and highlight. So increases bleed almighty damage by 1.5 times, and then another, I think it was about 170% increase. Yeah, just about 164% increase on his highlight. It is nice damage. But I think realistically, with the added increase of 50% element accuracy on the weapon, still not really worth it, in all honesty. He's still going to be more bleed based, and you're still not really using Ripper mode as much until you're really at that A6. A6 is where he's really shining because he's able to do mad damage just due to the fact that we actually just look at it. So for one, he can now get 13 stacks of bleed. And then when he uses Sinful Games, it no longer removes bleed stacks. And Laceration is upgraded to Execution. Again, different on what it's called. And it increases the damage by 100% and deals 50% as splash damage to all foes. So that's kind of where Messa becomes a Laceration demon. Like absolutely ridiculous when he's doing when he's in his Ripper mode. Absolutely broken, ridiculous. But of course, when you're at pre A1, A2, so A2 is just going to be the healing, and A1 is just the additional bleed stacks and increased laceration damage, as well as with the Almighty damage bonus that it's giving. Even with this, it's still not going to do as much because, as we already went over, the fact that Messa loses due to bosses having that decrease, right? Due to the bosses having HP damage reduction, damage taken, he's just not doing as much as he could. And that's kind of like the biggest problem with it. And that's why, like, realistically speaking, if you're on the fence of getting Messa, I would honestly say skip him. I'm gonna pull him, of course, and build him and do all that because I like him. I like him. I like what he does. I think he has really cool abilities and everything else. But I'm also not free to play. I'm a spender. And when we're looking at the next coming banners coming up here pretty quick, we're looking at the Futabas. We're looking at the Harus. Both of them were fan favorites. Haru is an AoE demon. Absolutely busted. I love her. She's amazing. I finally pulled her on my TW account recently, and she still does damage. She still does work. Futaba is going to be one of the best navigators have in the game, bar none, up until Anj, where she just barely gets edged out due to, honestly, them buffing penetration as well as her giving an extra turn. And then when we're looking at the 3.0, which is about 6 to 8 weeks away, we're getting Kotone. We're getting Kasumi coming out pretty quick too. I want to assume Kotone, looking at the Messa buffs, they're probably all going to be on the same level. Kasumi, of course, if they give it the current buffed version that we're getting in TW or already in, she's going to blow all of them out the water, and then we have Wind Vast. So everybody's coming up right now. It's kind of hard for me to say for a free-to-play player to pull Messa. But I will say, if you have Makoto, especially right now, I would say that Messa is probably an easy skip. And I know a lot of people grab Makoto. Because I'm going to be honest, even with the buffs Messa got, I think Makoto or Queen and Messa will probably do about the same damage. Maybe Messa doing a little more in comparison. And then, assuming Kotone gets about the same level of buffs, all three of them are going to do about the same amount of damage. And then, of course, they're going to all be power crept by Kasumi within 3 months. Probably about 3 months from now. So what does that take us to? January? Yeah, about January is when everybody kind of gets power crept. And like that's kind of like everything brought together as why it's hard to really recommend pulling Messa. But if you don't have Makoto, I think he's perfectly fine to pull. He is going to be a really strong single target DPS. They're of course going to shill him and Guild Boss and SOS for the next few patches, of course. That's what they do. We were still seeing Makoto Guild Boss. Like, didn't we just have a Makoto Guild Boss last week or the week before? Right? And then so now we're gonna start seeing Messa basically for the next probably 2 to 3 weeks. Have a week off and then have another patch or two of Messa up until probably Kotone comes out or 5-star mods. But that's kind of like my overall recommendation of everything that's happening in the game. These buffs are cool, but I don't think they're good enough. He really needed a rework. Like they need to do a lot more to make him worth a lot more to pull. I was very disappointed in seeing overall what they did with him because it just felt like little number touches that aren't really meaningful. They're not going to really boost the amount of to the point where he needs to where, you know, oh, laceration on A0 is good. No, it's still going to be an A6 thing only, which is, again, sad and depressing, but no, it is okay. Obviously, in their minds, they don't think Mesa's going to sell well to begin with, because he's a male, and usually males don't sell well, so that might be why they don't want to buff him. But I do think Mesa's a fan favorite. A lot of people I know are pulling him. But with that, I'm going to end the video there. Let me know down below what you guys think, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye bye for now.